Hi everyone and happy Monday. We have a picture from Secret Garden today in the Johanna Basford Planner, and I had decided what pencils I was using, and then I had a slight freak out about how small the details are on the page, but we'll manage. Because I've had a request to use metallic pencils, so I thought I'd use those, but the details are teeny tiny, but I'm sure I will manage because we can sharpen our castles to quite a fine point. I'm using the Castle Arts metallic pencils because I know most people who have metallics, I think it's the castles that they have. Right, we have a lot of green going on in this picture, and we have flowers as well. Let's make a start, and I don't quite know how I'm going to approach this. I might just sort of go from top down or something. Let's come in a bit closer. So I think I'm just going to deal with the section at a time and work through it because it's very daunting, I have to say, for me. But if I look at it carefully, there are clumps of flowers the same. So here, for example, all these are the same, so we can colour those all the same. But I'm actually going to start with this one. Now I'm going to start, because this is so tiny, I'm only going to use one colour for this. So I think I'm just going to grab a blue. Oops, this the sapphire is rather pretty. Of course, I'm going to be doing a lot of sharpening. So here it is, sapphire. And I'm just going to do all the tiny flowers with this. Now, if this was slightly bigger, I would be tempted to use a slightly darker colour in the centre of each flower, but you know, sort of here to make it a little bit darker, but I don't think it's going to show up in this small detail. I would use the what's it called, the peacock topaz to do that, or you could use a black, but as I say, I'm not going to. Now we have got some black ones here. We can't really colour over the top of those in the metallic pencils, it doesn't really show up, so I'm just going to leave them black. I think some of Johanna's earlier work had quite a lot of black in, and I think she sort of began to realise that it wasn't something that colourists found very useful or liked too much, because it just gives you a shape that you can't really colour unless you've got a gel pen or a paint pen, that sort of thing. But I do think it looks pretty within this little floral group to have a few bits of black, but as I say, she doesn't do it anymore. Some illustrators of course do a black background, which I rather like, I have to say. In some of my Maria Trolle books where she does the black background, the most of the pages that I've done are the ones with the black. Partly, I think, because I know I don't have to do anything with the background because it's done, so that makes it feel less daunting, but also I rather like the look of the colour with the black background. I have never tried metallics with a black background, not pencils, not in a picture of hers. In fact, I don't think I've used metallics in her book at all. Maybe I should. Anyway, we've got some little ones that look like they've sort of fallen off, so we're just doing those as well in exactly the same way. Very simple. Now I'm just looking and going out the lines while I'm doing so. This stem, does it have any leaves on it? No. We do have a circle there, and I'm actually going to do that in this colour. And this flower here, to me, doesn't look like it belongs to anything but this, so I'm going to do that in this colour too. And then we'd have done this. I've done that very simply. Let's move on to our little butterfly. Right, I'm going to do the body first. We have a mixture of greys, which I'm going to pick from. I'm going to use the Vesuvius grey. Give it a sharpen. It is one of the lighter greys. I hope it will show up still, but we've got quite a lot of black in the body around the head. Now normally with a body of a butterfly I would that covers over the black quite well. Hang on, let me just brush it off so you can see. Normally with the body of a butterfly I would make it darker on the outside edges and lighter towards the middle to make it look a little bit more shapely. It's so small, I'm going to not. Now I'm going to do this as a sort of brownish moth rather than a butterfly. I'm going to start with the bismuth crystal. Just because we've got a lot of options for colour through the page, and I thought we could just make this look a little plainer. But what I'm going to do is not just use the one colour, so I'm going to use this on the centre parts of the wings and then taper it off, and then on the tips use a slightly different colour. Now often for butterflies and moths and things I use some black. I'm not going to use that today. I'm going to use a little bit of a sort of, I think I'm going to use the saffron gold. Whoops. Just sharpen it. This is my saffron gold, which has a big splodge of, I think it's the paint from where the end's dipped. It's quite funny. I don't know whether it'll get a bit annoying when it comes to sharpening it down that far, but we'll have to wait and see. There we go. There is our moth, butterfly, not sure which. Right, I'm just going to reorganise my pencils. Give me a second. I was laying them out on the desk, but I think I need to keep them in the tin so that I don't get myself in a muddle. Right, let's move in and across a little bit. Now these ones I think look like they could be orange. I don't know why, I just feel that's nice. Now we've got these little dots. Some of them have been coloured in black already and some of them haven't. I'm going to have a think about that. I'm going to grab the mandarin garnet and we're going to do the centre of them with these, or the outside edge, or both. See, the outside edge is very thin and I'm going to try, if this is too much for you, wobbly wobbly lead, and I'll turn it around and see if I can, no, I've got my dowel sharpener here because I was using it. I'm going to use that for these. Sometimes I find they need the dowel. The dowel sharpener is seems to be better, and sometimes for a pencil that doesn't want to sharpen, it can just do a better job. Now why don't I use it all the time? Well, it's noisy, and I find it takes a bit longer to sharpen a pencil. I'm lazy. I'm going to put a little bit in the middle, just a little bit. So yeah, that's the reason why. It's a great sharpener. Yeah. Also, there is only one. The disadvantage with the hand crank sharpeners is that when your pencils get below a certain size, they don't fit. You can't use them. So then you have to use a more conventional. Well, I use a barrel sharpener then, and once it's too short for that, I use the little, you know, just a handheld little sharpener thing. I've got a really pretty gold one which I love, and then eventually you have to part with your pencil. Some people keep all their pencil bit ends in a little box. I don't. I've got so much stuff I can't be doing with keeping things like that. If I was going to use it for something, it might make it worth it. But I've started to think I need to start getting rid of some stuff again. Not nice, usable stuff. But I keep things like bags, like gift bags and things. Now some of them are nice and I should reuse them, but others of them are like from shops and things, and they're just paper bags. They're not particularly special, and I think it's about time I started getting rid of a few of them because I'm getting far too many. So I was going to have a sort out. but you know, I haven't got around to it because, you know, but I think I will at some point do that. Now what I think I'm going to do is, I'm just going to look and see if I haven't got one, a black pen to go over those dots. I think I'm just going to turn them black with a fine liner. Unfortunately, I don't think I've got one. So that could be problematic. Oh, we've got these little ones here. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I will have to borrow one. I think, actually I might have one in my drawer. Okay, I'm just looking to see if I've done all of those, and I have. I'm also looking over the rest of the picture to see if there are any more, because some of the flowers sort of repeat around the page, but these don't, so that's it for those. So I'm going to use the dragon orange for to finish them off. Okay, and basically just fit in the rest. Like that. I'm going to try and put this down. Now I find that with the metallics, it probably is really obvious, but the thicker you lay it down, the more you can see the sparkle. Can't really see it, but if I tip it like that, you can see it's catching the light. They're not like, it's not like you're using a really shiny paint or even a gel pen or anything. They're not shiny like that, but they do have some shine, and I rather like the slight muted tone that you get with them, which is rather nice. So there is that. I can hear my son typing away next door. I'm just going to sharpen this. He's been doing an essay today, or starting an essay today, I should say. I don't think he'll finish it, but he's got some data analytics to do. It looks really fun, I have to say. I don't know enough about it to be able to help him though, unfortunately. I know about data analytics from a sort of psychology, statistical point of view. It sounds really complicated, and but my knowledge is so basic it really isn't. But he's doing it from a sort of computery point of view, and yeah, it's much more complicated. But he was learning about it in class yesterday, and I think he's sort of got all that knowledge in his brain now. He wants to get down on paper and sort of get working. He's actually been working on another project for a long time, and I think it's just nice for him to have something else to get his teeth into really and to get going with. So he's been doing that, so that's good. And his dad is doing a very similar thing at work, which is interesting. Now we have a couple of little bits at the bottom here that are going to be green. And the shade of green, I always think a olivey green goes much better with orange, and we do have one here called Envy, which is quite an olivey green, so I'm going to use that. But I'm also going to use it for some more leaves as well, because I think it sort of makes sense. So I'm just going to do the bottoms of these. It's just plain colouring, they're very small. Like that. Oh, there's that one. I'm just gonna check, and I think maybe this foliage here and here we could also do with this colour, just to sort of tie it together really. Now these two, so I'm trying not to colour over the black. You could do if you wanted. I am trying to slightly fade towards the tip of the leaves, but it's quite tricky, it's very small. And I'm going to do both of these the same, even though obviously they're different shapes. But I think it's a little bit easier than chopping and changing colour. And I think it will look just fine. There we go. And it gets a little section done. Now I am going to, I'm going to do this little bit here. If we come across, we can see there's some really teeny flowers here. And very teeny leaves as well. I'm just going to have a quick look around the page to see if there are any more that look like that. No. Oh, those. Ah, okay, there are a few little clusters of flowers that look like this, so we'll do all the clusters that I can spot. I'm going to use what's called the jasper purple. It's a sort of pinky purple, and I'm going to sharpen it. We're going to just plain colour because they're tiny. Okay, so when I say plain colour, I mean trying to get a fairly even layer across each petal, like that. We can just go through all of them doing the same thing. Now these are very open little flowers, might be tricky for you to see. But if you're colouring along, you obviously see it in your own book. But there is some sort of buds further up in the plant, and we're going to do those just the same way, keeping it nice and straightforward. These, you could think that that was green, a leaf part, or a sort of part that's holding the bud, but I've done it in that colour. Now we're going to find the next cluster, which I think these are the same or similar enough to do them the same colour. But again, despite the fact that they are drawn with some detail in, I'm just going to do it all the same colour because of its size. I can't be fiddling in there with different colours. It's just too difficult. There we go. And what we'd do when we've done all the little flowers is we'd do their leaf groups all the same colour as well, so that they all tie together. And it makes it easier too, for me at least, because I don't have to keep thinking of new colours. I'll do the same colour. There's another group of them down here. The flowers here. They're not identical, but I think they're similar enough to make the same colour. Now on these I've accidentally coloured over the middle, and you can see how it does colour over the black a little bit. So if you would rather colour over the black on all of the black parts, again I'm going to do that all in the same colour. You might want to do those bits in green as if they're you know, the sort of outer casing of the bud, but I quite want to do them in this colour just so that it's the same across all of them. Now where? Over here. So they aren't identical, but similar enough for me to want to do them the same so they match. There we go. Oh, I've got my hand on the rings. If you're colouring these, you might want to twist your book. I find the most comfortable place to put the ring is on the top. I'll never put my hand up there, so that's the best position for it, which I do if I'm not on camera, but obviously I'm going to try and keep you the right way up. I know some colourists will twist their book so that it's more comfortable for them. It's probably a really good idea. Now I'm just going to have a quick search and see if there are any more. Don't think so. No. So now I'm going to pick a green. Now that's a purpley colour. It looks quite reddish to me really, but I think a green that's a little bit bluey would be fine. I am probably going to use the malachite green, if I can find it. I'm just turning them around. Here it is. Found it at last. Give it a sharpen. There we go. So this one, malachite green, and all the leaves the same. So in this bunch we need to look right down to the base there's none here, but this is our first leaf bunch. And again, I'm just going to block it in because it's so teeny tiny. If you're colouring the one version in the Secret Garden book, or indeed the print, there's a free printout page of this particular picture. So even if you don't have this planner or Secret Garden, you can get it off Johanna's website, this particular page, I think. If you have a slightly bigger version, then you might prefer to sort of fade the colour down towards the tip of the petal, leaf even, or the petal, depending on which bit you're colouring, or even put a drop of darker colour near the stem. What would I use? You could use the ocean grey, maybe possibly a black. This is quite a dark green anyway, so you might need to use a black. Right, I'm up here, look. Oh, my stomach is gurgling. What time is it? It's only 5 to 11. Grip. Right, now I am looking through and I see a little cluster of leaves down here which look really similar. So I'm just going to do these in this colour. And across to here. Now these leaves look quite different, don't they? But we'll just fill them in. We've got all the black. As I say, it's up to you if you want to colour over the black. Some pencils are more transparent than others. Some will cover it quite well. Some not so much so. Yeah, I think we'll leave those up here with these ones. Again, we've got half black, half white leaves. And I'll have a look and see if there's any other sets of leaves that look similar-ish. There are a few I might colour. Have a look in a minute. I might just go across and finish this first. My desk is being very creaky again. It was yesterday. In a video that you won't see for a few weeks, I've been doing a very long new series. I'm not sure if it would have come out yet or not. I'm going to do this set of leaves. I just heard a noise like an owl hooting. Surely not at this time of day. I hear them a lot at night. I'm just looking. Sorry, I'm not moving the page around. I'm just looking. Now I think I'm going to leave that that green. I can always pick it up later. Now, where are we going to go? How are we doing for time is the next question. Right, I'm going to do these. Okay. I quite like the idea of a slightly yellowy green. So I'm thinking I'm going to go for this olive verde, which is obviously means olive green. I say olive, obviously. I might be completely wrong. And I'm going to colour these. So they're quite, it's quite goldish. But I think that's okay because we've got so many different leaves that we're going to want a mix of colour. And I think it goes quite nicely with the orange right next to it. And we might find a few other leaf clusters to do in this colour. I am trying to fade it to the tip, but I'm struggling because it's so narrow to try and get enough colour down so that it actually looks like I've coloured it. So I'm not doing a particularly good job. There we go. Now it's quite interesting. I'm thinking about one of the first pictures I did with these pencils was in World of Flowers. There is a bird which I think might be a pheasant. I'm not sure. And I coloured it with these. And someone commented and said they thought it was the best picture I'd coloured, which was very kind of them. But I spent a long time mixing the colours, I basically just treated them like they were a regular pencil, and so put darker and lighter areas in, and used a lot of black to create shadow and darker areas and things like that. But the page had quite a lot of larger areas in, which made it a lot easier to do than this page. Right, what I'm going to do is look for other leaf groups that look like this. So I'm thinking this one, I'm going to do it this colour. That one looks rather like the ones we just did, doesn't it? But it doesn't matter too much whether they are that alike, you know. I think it's just a matter of just doing a mix of different colours, really. Now, if you haven't got the metallics, you can do this in regular pencils. I don't really have an equivalent chart or list. I'm not sure there is one. Is a set of pencils that are similar but not metallic, if that makes sense, because the colours are so muted. It's quite tricky, but maybe I should put something together. I wonder if the regular castles have similar colours, but if you, I don't know. So I'm thinking like this colour I would say was, I'm thinking polychromos now because they're the ones I'm most familiar with. This is probably closest to, say, May green, maybe? I think you could use it, but it's not like really similar. I am going to move this across and do this one here. I'm sort of looking for leaf groups that are quite long and thin. Yeah, so yeah, it could be May green, something like that, a yellowy green. But I guess, I mean, you can do whatever you like, of course. And the sort of one we just used, the sort of reddy pink that we just used, which was called, is it the jasper purple? I would probably use a red or a crimson from Polly, something like that probably. Middle purple pink maybe, but it looks a bit more reddish. Now the orange, obviously you can use any orange, but for the darker colour it's probably more like a red or a light cadmium red, something like that. And then that the blue, you know, any blue really, it's more like a I want to say cerulean blue, but don't have that in like a phthalo blue. Right, now let's see. I think I'm just going to do this one. Now these leaves are quite big. There is a little bit more space for putting a darker colour in the base if you want to, down here. I'm just going to try and layer up this one a little bit more. But you could certainly pop down some, what would I use? You could put down some French grey or the malachite green grey maybe, but it's not quite the same tone. Maybe the African jade actually might work. Difficult. Got a sore foot today. It's a blister. It's not like the whole foot, it's okay. But I wore my new boots out and I tried some thicker socks, and the socks were really rough socks, and my boots are too long but not wide enough, so they rub up and down on the heel all the time. But in my thinner socks it seems to be okay. But these thick socks, rough socks, they were rubbing up and down. I got them huge blister. I was going to go to town. I couldn't even make it to town. I got to the end of the road and I knew that it was going to be sore, but I thought I would persevere, and I got a bit further and I sat on a bench and put some plasters on and then just went home. But I learned a lesson. I think we're going to leave that green for now. We'll not do any more of that. We'll come back into here and look at this flower. Now there are quite a few of these sort of big flowers, and I'm wondering whether I should do them the same. I'm thinking a nice purple. We've got lovely amethyst, which is our darkest purple shade. I'm going to sharpen it and do it for the middles, and then do the petals in a slightly lighter colour, I think. So here we are, amethyst, and where are we starting here? So I'm just going to go in this middle bit. I'm not going to go too dark because there's some black there, so we won't see it. But here I'm going to go dark and lighter towards the tip there. And then work around. And we are then going to find a similar one. I am looking now, I'll move it here. Now these all look similar to each other, so I'm going to leave those. But I think I'm tempted to do this one. Maybe I'll just keep them looking all a bit different. There is one really similar to this, which is there. So I think I'm going to do this one. A bit lighter in the middle, like that. This one looks the same. Can you see that one? Yeah. It's a bit lighter in the middle and dark around there. I'm thinking that one looks fairly similar to it as well. Again, dark on those, a bit lighter in there. I think that's about it. So we've got 4 that I've done, and we'll use a lighter, we'll use the iris purple, which is a lighter one for the petals. Let's do this one first. So I like to do them a little bit darker down there, and then lighter as we come out towards the edge. That's what I'm going to try and do. Now this is a very muted purple, it looks almost grey. It's not particularly pretty, but I think it depends what you like, you know. But there we go. I like the amethyst better, but I think we need the contrast. I mean, one way of getting away with doing a contrast without using a different colour is you could use the amethyst all over and then just cover this bit with a bit of black, and that would create that difference in colour without you having to switch colours. We've got this one here to do, but the problem with that is your black's going to run out really quickly, and we can't buy these open stock, meaning you can't buy the single colours. So if you run out of something, you either have to buy the whole tin to replace it, or you have to go without, and that is a little bit annoying. It actually stops some people buying certain brands of pencils because of that annoyance, and I can't blame them, to be honest. It's okay when you've got a new set and you'll start to use them, but as you start seeing certain favourites wearing away and you can't replace them, it becomes a little bit annoying. But anyway, it's really sunny again today. Lovely. It was like that yesterday, and I went out for a walk and then came home and it poured with rain, and my one son got a lift home. My other one got a little bit wet, not too much, luckily. Now we've got buds here, can you see? So we're going to fill these in too, the same way. But they're not really buds, are they? They're just flowers facing the other way. And then we've got our other one next to it. Just see if you can see. You can. I can hear my solar inverter humming away. It's producing some power for us. That's good. Right, now just thinking about the leaves, because this bunch has leaves but the other ones that I've done don't, so I might leave them. Haha. Let's actually, we'll just do them. I'm going to use the verde jade and just do the leaves down here. Now we've got a mix of leaves. If you look, this pencil's going to break. I shall use it in my dowel. We've got some thin leaves and some larger leaves. You can choose to do them the same or differently. I'm going to do them all the same. Here we go, look. So verde jade. So I'm going to start with the little ones and just sort of block those in. Even these ones are quite slim and nice to get done when I've got a nice sharp pencil. And then these ones, can you see them? Yes. So I think I'm going to try and go light to dark. Now the edge of these leaves is drawn round. I am going to ignore that because it's very fine. I know we did it with our orange flowers, but I'm not going to with these, partly because I want the flowers to stand out more than the leaves, but also it's just such fine work. If we do it for all of them, we'll be here forever, and you can if you wish. The same as where these are overlapping, it might be a bit darker there. You could put a little bit of black in there to show make it look more three-dimensional, but I'm actually going to not worry about that. I'm just going to put down some colour and enjoy the process and hopefully come up with something that looks reasonable. We've got that one there. This is going to be the last colour I do, although I might pick a few other leaf groups to do with it before we finish. I need a break, my voice is going, I'm going to go and get a drink and then come back to it a little bit later, I think. So you might feel like you've done quite a lot as well. I sometimes find some of these pages are a little bit daunting, aren't they? Now what I'm going to look for is leaves that look like this or like this to colour. There are no more that look like this. There aren't really any more that look like this either. I think what I'll do then is I'll just put it up and do a group somewhere up here where we're sort of opposite. So I think maybe this one here, it isn't really attached to anything else, but we'll just fill it in, and then we'd have done a little bit more and use this colour. My son's laughing next door, he must be watching a video. I think the person he really likes to watch starts streaming at about 11 o'clock every day, and so he, as soon as he comes on, my son stops work and watches him for the rest of the day. I don't want to just leave it to 2. I think I'm going to go over here. This section probably should have been that colour, but I missed it, so I'm going to do it in this colour. I'm just trying to sort of evenly space out some sections in this colour. And then we'll come to an end for today. I don't know how long this is actually going to take to finish. I don't know if we've done half, probably not. Although I find that it seems to get quicker the more I've done. I don't know if you find that with colouring in general, I tend to. I'm going to just do that one there. I tend to find that the closer I come to finishing a picture, the quicker it gets. I think it partly easier to make colour choices because you've sort of used some already, so you sort of either match them up or you don't want a duplicate or things like that. I don't know. Right, there we go. I think, as I say, I'm going to leave that now. So we're sort of part of the way there. Let's just come out so you can see what I've done so far. So there we go. Thank you for watching. Yes, we shall get back to this and tomorrow and add in some more colour. It's looking, they always look a little bit muted with the metallics, but we'll definitely add some more pinks and brighter colours and things like that to make it stand out, particularly in the middle here. I think we need a bit more going on. But anyway, thank you. Have a really super Monday and happy colouring.